And welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. We are Catalan Cup winners 2018. Go out, tell your friends, tell everybody that you know. We are the Catalan Cup winners. And that was basically what we had to endure for 90 minutes. Not just the 90 minutes, we also had to endure penalty kicks in this game. 0-0 it ended after those 90 minutes. It was really, really difficult to watch. And I have to say that because usually, obviously, every Barcelona game you look forward to watching. Even friendly games in the summer, I usually enjoy watching because you see the young players. But I don't know, the kind of occasion, maybe the pitch wasn't great today either. It was a very stop-start sort of game. We didn't really play very well. Espanyol had better chances, to be honest, and overall it was quite a difficult watch there tonight. It wasn't a lot of quality, there wasn't a lot of chances, there wasn't really an awful lot on show at all, but we did get through it in the end on penalty kicks. And in this video we are going to be going over the game, what we did well, what we didn't do so well, some of the guys that did come up and impress from Barcelona B. Ousmane Dembele, of course, started the game, so we're going to be having a look at all that and more in this review video. Well done if you got through this one. Now let's have a look at it. So Ernesto Valverde elected to start the game with Jasper Cillessen in goal from right to left. Then he had Palencia at right backs, Yerry Mina and also Cuenca, the young centre-back, there in defence. Also at left back he started with Lucas Digne. It was basically a 4-3-3 formation. In midfield holding was Andre Gomez, either side of him Carlos Alenia and Denis Suarez, and then the front three was Ousmane Dembele, Alex Vidal and Paco Alcácer. What was kind of surprising though about the way that we set up in this game was basically that Ousmane Dembele was on the left-hand side, and that was quite strange because obviously usually Dembele would be on that right-hand side. He's been so ever since he came into Barcelona, in his Dortmund days as well, primarily on that right. So a bit strange to see him on the left. I don't know whether he was there because Vidal wasn't able to play on the left, but I find it strange really that we're putting Dembele slightly out of position really just to sort of benefit Alex Vidal. But it's kind of a bit of running theme. We've seen Coutinho a lot on the right. He's usually suited on the left. Maybe now we're going to see Dembele on the left instead of on the right. But overall, I think it was a really good start of the game, actually. That was the only time in the game that was a bit exciting. That was the only time in the game that we looked quite good, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know how much you can really base off this kind of game. It wasn't a competitive fixture. It was very much a glorified friendly game. There wasn't an awful lot of meaning to it. There wasn't a great crowd there either. So it wasn't really the kind of stage to perform, to get motivated for. And I think a lot of these guys was just passing the time, to be perfectly honest. But we did start the game very, very well. In particular, Dembele started well himself. He was picking the ball up. He was receiving a lot of the ball. I think he felt in that sort of opening minutes that he was sort of the main man. He looked confident. He had a really, really good run where he took on a few players. He was a powerful driving run at the end of it, though the finish wasn't great. He had another moment where he put a really good lob ball behind the defence. It was a really nice through ball and could have resulted in a goal scoring opportunity. So Dembele started the game well. I thought after that, though, maybe he dwindled. He tailed off a little bit. Didn't really do an awful lot as the game went on. He lost the ball a few times. He was involved in a little altercation. He was basically kicked by an Espanyol player. Dembele reacted very unhappily to that kind of challenge and he wasn't happy with that. But overall, it was good to see Dembele firstly on the pitch. That's important, really important now, of course, after these injuries and having been left out of recent games, to get some minutes under his belt, get some fitness back. That's what he desperately needs. And also the fact that he was taken off. He didn't play the full 90 here. That would imply to me potentially he could be playing once again, maybe even from the start against Malaga on Saturday. So we're going to have to wait and see whether that happens. But overall, Dembele, decent, got taken off and he had some minutes on the pitch. That was the main thing. Other than that, though, it wasn't great from us. It really wasn't. We didn't create many chances. Paco Alcácer probably had our best chance of the game, and that was in the opening minute. He was put through on goal. It was a golden opportunity, and just at the very last second, as he hit it, the ball sort of bubbled up and it went way, way over the crossbar. That was poor from him. Like I say, that finish from Dembele, a bit rushed after his really, really good run. But I think overall today, the man of the match from our point of view was Jasper Cillessen. Once again, when he's called upon, when he's put in to that first team picture, he's outstanding. Whenever he is relied upon, he makes up the saves. And it was brilliant again from him. He made a really good save. There was a poor back pass, again, maybe down to the pitch from Sergi Palencia. It wasn't a great ball back. Cillessen bailed us out there with the first of all a save, and then he came out and made a tackle. And I think overall, right throughout the game, Cillessen made some really good saves. He was really aware, and he was the reason why we even got to penalty kicks in the first place. In that first half, though, I have to say I thought I was very, very impressed with Denis Suarez, especially given the amount of time that he hasn't really had on the pitch of late. You would have expected maybe to see a player who was a bit leggy, who was a bit really not match fit. He's hardly featured at all in recent weeks and months of Barcelona, but to be honest, he looked really sharp, he looked really good. There was a few good runs, again, like Dembele, really, there was some really nice sort of movement, there was some good speed, but at the end of it, sometimes the end product was lacking. There was a shot that went over the bar, and maybe he could have played Dembele into a better position, but I thought overall, in that first half, Cillessen bailing us out, Denis Suarez very good on the ball, he did some good passes, good dribbles, he was definitely our main source of creativity, but unfortunately, as it usually goes in these kind of situations, Denis Suarez impressing and then injured. That's how it seemed to have gone this season, and I would certainly look at it in the same sort of light as well. Nelson Semedo got his chance finally in the first team, he was playing well, he was looking encouraging, and bang, there goes another muscle injury, yet another injury, apparently to his left leg, another muscle injury. Really disappointing for Denis. He came back onto the bench on the second half, he looked really downbeat, and I did feel sorry for him. This is his first chance in a long time. He was playing quite well considering the circumstances, and injured, unfortunately, for Denis Suarez. In the second half, we started quite brightly again. I think that was what the case as the game went on. In the first half, we started well and tailed off, and in the second half, it was very much the same. There was a really good ball put into the box from Alex Vidal, which Paco Alcácer just couldn't get on the end of. Again, that was one of our most important opportunities, really. Not a lot else happened, to be perfectly honest. I think Paco Alcácer had a quiet day, didn't do an awful lot. I think Alex Vidal was pretty wasteful in general. Andre Gomez in his holding role was quite decent, but that's always sort of the case. You know, he's quite clean and tidy. He doesn't take a lot of risks. That kind of role is quite suited to him. I thought Carlos Alenia in general didn't really take a lot of risk either, and that's the thing with him, because usually all of his quality is in that confidence, that movement, driving forward, breaking the lines. He didn't do an awful lot of that today, and I was quite surprised, really. He didn't maybe take his chance as much as I expected him to, but obviously, hopefully, in the future, we will be seeing more of him. But like I say, the best chances by far went to Espanyol. They had a number of shots. Cillessen was denying them, of course. They hit the crossbar through Pablo Piatti in the game as well. But I want to talk about one player who I think really impressed me, considering his age, considering his very little experience so far for Barcelona, and that's George Cuenca, the young centre-back today, just 18 years old. I was really impressed with him next to Yerry Mina. Yerry Mina was solid, he was decent, but for me, Cuenca was actually much more impressive today. Not only about the way that he defended, he made a fantastic interception, a sort of block tackle in the second half, which could have easily resulted in a goal if he didn't get there. He got that, he did really well to win that ball, but not more than that. Not just his defensive play, it was how he was bringing the ball out. He's a left-footed centre-back, he plays on the left of a two at centre-back. He was bringing the ball out the back, he was looking really comfortable on the ball, he was bringing it out without any sort of worry about getting intercepted or getting tackled. He was doing really well, considering he's just 18 years old. And the commentator actually said, I'm going to come on to the commentator in a minute, but the one good thing he did say was that he looks like a young Gerard Piqué. And obviously, you don't want to make those kind of comparisons too early on, but he certainly has potential, and I was really impressed with what I did see from him in this game. But overall, there wasn't much that happened in the way of Barcelona, especially in that second half. It was a friendly game, so we could sort of make as many subs as we wanted to. A lot of different changes came on in the second half. Dembele went off, and pretty much every player was sort of rotated in the game. One little milestone, one little thing to focus on in the 75th minute, the first English player since Gary Lineker came on and played for the Barcelona first team. Marcus Mcguane came from Arsenal. That's his first appearance at Barcelona, and the first Englishman since Gary Lineker, so a long time, but finally an Englishman at Barcelona. Interesting to see how he does in the near future. But ultimately, it was Espanyol in the closing stages that certainly had more of the ball, they certainly had more of the chances, and they certainly looked more like scoring. But in the end, neither team managed to make the breakthrough, and for that reason, it went to penalty kicks to decide the winner of the Catalan Super Cup. Paco Alcácer stepped up first of all, scored his penalty, then Sergi Dada did his best Sergio Ramos impression, smashing the ball high over the bar. Palencia then tucked away his penalty, nice penalty from him. Lopez made it 2-1 then. Yerry Mina tucked away his penalty really nicely before Hermoso scored a nice Panenka, and after he'd scored that Panenka, he thought he was all cool, thought he was all really hard, you know, scoring his Panenka penalty kick, didn't really look where he was going, and ended up falling over Jasper Cillessen, so he didn't make himself look great there. And finally, Abel Ruiz scoring from the spot, sealing it for Barcelona after Espanyol missed their fourth penalty as well. So overall, Barcelona winning on penalty kicks. If if you watched that game, you did very, very well to make it to the end. Not only was the quality of football today not great, but the commentator on Barcelona stream, I don't mind his personality. His personality's fine. I'm not really digging at that, but his commentary on the game was really incredible. Everything turned into a big song. His pronunciation of players was very interesting indeed, and hopefully we don't get him on any La Liga or Champions League games in the near future, or we might all have to stop watching. But hopefully you did enjoy this game to some degree, guys. This is basically my review of it as I saw it, but obviously all of our focus, all of our motivation on that game at the weekend in La Liga against Malaga away from home. So that's coming on Saturday. I'll have the preview coming for you up on Friday. I will see you then, but until then, as always, Vesca El Barça.